almost 5,000 Bitcoins outflow. We should not forget that we are still in a capitulation, that $57,400 is now acting as resistance for continuation to the downside until really everybody is shaking out. The market keeps dropping lower and lower, and I'm sure that you are asking yourself, what the heck is going on? What is causing this, and how long are we still going through this period? Don't worry, I got you guys. I know exactly when we are getting out of this and also what caused the recent drop in the last 24 hours. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here once again. I will jump directly into one of the things that caused yesterday the markets to drop. One of these things were actually that Nvidia got subpoenaed by the DOJ, an escalating antitrust probe. So here you can see Nvidia has built a dominant position in AI computing. And they're believing that it could be that they're kind of taking too much market share. So the DOJ is here right now investigating if they violated the antitrust laws and investigating an escalation into the dominant provider of AI processors. And as you can see here, they delivered previously some questions to the company and are now sending legally binding requests that are obliging them to provide information according to people familiar with the investigation. So they are basically forced now to answer certain questions that the DOJ has to check what's going on there. And that led to a massive drop in all fintech stocks. But that was not the only cause why we went down. Something that some of you might have forgotten already is that the interest rate hike in Japan is still causing an unwinding of that trade over there. So you saw here a couple, 2 weeks ago approximately, here this big drop to the downside, then that bounce, and now we got again a smaller pullback here of roughly 6%. And this 6% move in the Nikkei had again global ripple effects across all markets, and Bitcoin was not spared. And this is what we are experiencing here, because yesterday we dropped here, how much was that? 4%, and today another almost 2%. And of course, that puts pressure on risk on assets, and people are selling them off, going into where? The dollar. And that's why the DXY is rallying also back to the upside, which is again really, really bad for us in crypto. And that's why we feel like we are stuck and only going gradually lower and lower and not seeing the effects of a bull market that we usually should see. But we have to admit, like, the unwinding of the Japan trade, of that big carry trade over there, is something that we have to factor as a black swan event. So that is something that usually should have not happened in a bull market, but we are here now. And that's why the dollar is going here to the upside, and we could see some continuation here into the 102 point level, potentially breaking all the way up to 102.7. That is the highest that I see for now, but it also opens up the door for a completion of a V-shaped recovery, because we are not far away to have here a completed V-shape. So we could get a complete V-shape all the way up, worst case to 103 points, but from there definitely I expect a retracement back to the downside and continuation of this bull run. But I know many of you guys are wondering, when is this finally coming to a halt? When is Bitcoin rallying back to the upside? So first of all, I must say here with the Y-curve accumulation pattern, I believe that I was wrong and that we are just now entering the spring phase. And that opens up the possibility that Bitcoin gets here one more move to the downside, then comes up, one more time down, then comes up, and then finally goes here into the phase of the spring, where we get the spring here to the upside. So unfortunately, there is the risk of a little bit more downside before we are finally going to the upside. And also, what was not really helping was the ETF inflows, but again, Nikkei, Japan. So we had yesterday almost 5,000 Bitcoins outflow in total. If you multiply that with let's say $60,000. So we're talking here about almost $300 million worth of Bitcoins that were with the ETFs. So, and that, of course, having one of the biggest outflows in a long time for Bitcoin also put pressure on the price. We should not forget that we are still in a capitulation period. But as I explained to you guys, this is not a normal capitulation where price is just going down and down and down, and at some point you finally get your bounce back to the upside. Something like here, that was also capitulation. No, the problem is we are in a time-based capitulation, and there you see price grinding slowly over a really long time down, lower and lower and lower. And every time when we come up a little bit, you think, oh, that's it, now we go back up. But no, the time-based capitulation means we grinding to the downside really slow, and that is crushing the mindset of a lot of people and leads to that they are paper handing and selling their positions. That adds more fuel for continuation to the downside until really everybody is shaking out and everybody has given up hope that we are going back to the upside, and only then we are getting a reverse. I want to show you on Google that this is exactly a time-based capitulation, what I told you. Time-based capitulation in financial markets refers to a phenomenon where investors, due to prolonged periods of market stagnation or slow decline, and that's exactly what we are seeing right now, slow decline, eventually give up on their investments, selling at a loss, not because of sudden price drop, but due to the wariness of holding onto assets that do not appreciate over time. Again, this is exactly what we are seeing. People want that Bitcoin goes back to $70,000, $72,000, and we are getting really close to the US election. We are just 64 days away. 64 days, I think. And people getting nervous right now. They're like, we're less than 70 days away from the election. The markets did not really start running yet. The stock market's not running. Crypto is not running. Nothing is running. And that is really strange. 60 days, almost 60 days before a US election. So what's going on? Why are we not going up? And then they are starting to question themselves a lot and are overlooking the fact that we're in a time-based capitulation. So now, when you want to figure out when this capitulation is over, there are multiple ways how to do that. So here on the daily chart, one way would be that we get one more big capitulation candle to the downside. That would come down to the bottom of this parallel downward sloping channel, all the way down to around $52,000. And from there, we get a bounce back to the upside and then go up for good. Or we are keeping to chop sideways between $54,000 and $57,000 for another 10 days, and then finally get out of nowhere a big move to the upside. So, and this move out of nowhere could coincide with the interest rate cut, but it could also coincide with the CPI data coming out on the 12th of September, so on Thursday next week. Between Thursday and the interest rate cut, in that time frame, I expect that Bitcoin finally will return to go back to the upside. And until then, we unfortunately have to factor in the possibility that we will come one more time down here to these downward sloping trend lines across different time frames that are between $52,000 and $53,000. As an example here at $53,500, and that $57,400 is now acting as resistance. So also here with the trajectory, I have now adapted it and added and changed it a little bit again with having this lower point here, because this is where we potentially are heading right now if nothing crazy really happens and gives us some fuel to come above $60,000. Because don't be fooled here, as long as we're not moving above $60,000, we will remain in this time-based capitulation. We need to break above $61,000 and $62,000, and the only confirmation level, like the big confirmation level, will be $64,700. That is the big confirmation level, and but the first signs, early signs of a confirmation will be around $61,000, $62,000 when we close some daily candles above that level and starting to go sideways here. You see also on this 12-hourly chart that we just keep getting rejected from the VPVR, from these big extensive extensive levels, and now yesterday came all the way down here to $55,600 to that green underlying support box. And that's the last line of defense for us before we will revisit the $52,000 mark. So if we lose that box here, expect that Bitcoin will drop lower. Reclaim the box above us at $57,700, and we most likely get another shot at $60,000 and a move above the EMA ribbon. Also here on this 1 hourly chart, you can see that from this downward sloping parallel channel that had here really a sharp angle to go to the downside, this also was the level from where we bounced off here slightly back to the upside. But also here again, guys, we need continuation to, basically change trend. Because right now, don't be fooled, we are in a on the shorter time frames on a downwards trend here, and this will only change when we start reclaiming key levels. And also the trade that I had given here a couple of days ago, guys, you see now why I told you take some profit, move your stops at break even or a little bit in profit so that you make sure that you get paid if this turns around, and it actually did turn around. That's why I gave you the warning before it actually happened. So I hope that your guys actually got out of your trades and did not round trip or even end up with liquidation here. When we're talking about liquidation levels, also here we should get befriended with the thought that we move all the way down here into these low leveraged long liquidation levels and take them all out for a liquidity grab. And you see below us there is basically nothing. There's almost nothing to grab anymore, so it makes not a lot of sense besides trapping people in a bear trap to drive prices a little bit lower to $52,500 approximately, and from there turning it around and then start going up and taking out all this high concentrated short liquidity that's stacked above us. And also here on the liquidation heat map, that's exactly what we are seeing here right now. See here also, it would make sense to drive prices one more time down here, all the way down to $53,000 approximately. But from there is below not a lot of liquidity, and all the liquidity is sitting above us. So again, guys, it is a question of time. I know it's boring. If that's your first cycle, don't worry. I have seen this already 3 times. This is my 4th cycle right now. I have seen this 3 times before already. And it's every time the same, you know. So in the bull market, you have the time capitulation. And once the time capitulation is done, then everything goes ballistic. And we are so close, guys. So close to finally be there. So don't get shaken out right now. Just hang in there. And when we are going here to this 4-hourly chart, you see here with the MDX algo indicator, by the way, there is a link in the description if you want this indicator. You see here also we're getting reversal indications that we should go back to the upside pretty soon. But unless we are getting a close here above the weekly open and the daily open, I would not look for a long position here at current prices. So because the weekly open is at 57,200 and the daily open at 57,500, I would only open a position if we reclaim both today, and otherwise I would wait. I would wait, guys, unless we are breaking here down into the $54,000 range or $52,000 range. I would be not looking for a long position on Bitcoin currently. And guys, if you want to learn how to properly trade and navigate in these markets, then go to my website amcrypto.us. I have right now also discounts on my programs where you can learn how to trade, and you can choose either just to learn by yourself with the help of my team, or directly get mentored by me. And you find the link for this in the description of the video here. Learn to trade like a pro. The call, you can schedule a call with me or my team absolutely for free, guys, with the link here down below. So use that link down below if you have the capital available, become a professional trader, and to understand how to read the markets like I'm doing it, then use the link for that in the description below. When we're looking at the total free, also here we have lost key support from 562 billion to 553 billion. So that was really important actually, that we held this and we lost it. Also the level at $545 billion is lost, and it opened up the potential that we fall all the way down here to the bottom of the downward sloping support line to basically to $500 billion. Once we're coming into this area here, I will deploy the last bit of capital that I have into as much coins as possible, because you can see here every time when we fell off that downward sloping trend line, it was a really quick recovery back to the upside. So this will be only short-lived this time again, in my opinion. Hence why I'm looking out here to load up as much as I can on altcoins when this is happening, because this is a $40 billion drop. So, and the money has to come from somewhere. So altcoins will get hammered when we are coming down to this bottom line. And you see this also here on the RSI heat map over the last 24 hours. A lot of coins moved now here back into the weak area of the RSI, which were before slightly a neutral. So here also give it maybe 2 or 3 days, and we should see many of these coins actually entering close to the oversold area. And that's where I also personally look to open low leveraged long-term positions that I'm not holding currently. So just to add more positions, but only then. And guys, if you don't have any money right now and you're looking for a way to get a $500 position, deposit $100 on Bybit, and then Bybit will give you a $500 airdrop position on all of these coins here that are mentioned on this side. You can withdraw the $100 afterwards directly again, no strings attached. Just claim the $500 position, withdraw the $100, you're good. You know, that's what you need to do. And you should take advantage of that, because we have only 2 weeks left, guys. 2 weeks, and then Bybit is withdrawing this offer. And you need to take advantage when they're throwing around with money as much as you can. Take everything what they're giving for free. That would be the same what I would be doing if I would be new in the space and I would have not a lot of money available, but I'm sure you have $100. So deposit the $100, claim the position, withdraw the $100, trade with the $500, make a couple thousand of dollars. But be careful. Take some trades that I give you here for free, guys. For example, here on Ethereum, I told you if we come back down here to $2,300, it will be a gift. And you see here the bounce from this. So there was a 4% bounce directly straight back to the upside. I hope some of you guys were able to catch it. Based on the indicators, I would say also here we are close to a reversal, because the RSI is going sideways, stochastic is slightly going to the upside. But also here, as long as Bitcoin is going down and the Nikkei and the DXY is playing into this, we should be a little bit careful and taking this with a grain of salt here. The same with Solana. Again, Solana, nothing wrong with Solana. As long as we're here in that green range, I would always keep buying and adding to my position, or just open a new position here. But of course, not with all my capital, guys. Really important. Once we're breaking here $132, there you can go crazy and add more to your position and make it really big, because from there we should get a nice pop to the upside. And once we are at $140, you just put a stop loss at your entry. Now the trade is risk-free and you can let it ride. That's how I would trade this currently. Here on the 4-hourly chart, here we could also still get a leg to the downside back to like $123. If we ever fall under $120, trust me, guys, it's another gift. You know, so you should buy as much as you can, as fast as you can before we're getting a bounce back. Because the last time that we were here, were at a month ago where we were at $110. So do I believe that we come back to $110? No, maybe $170, $118, something like this, higher low, and then continuation to the upside. Also here I would be buying. 2 ways how you can enter here trade, either down here or up at $132. In between, you can nibble a little bit. Don't go all in, you know, so with the position size that you plan to trade with, just like 5-10% here in that green area. And then depending on where we are going, there you go crazy. Here you go crazy, or when we break here, you go crazy. Then one of the other coins that I'm looking at currently is Phantom. Phantom, if we can close today's candle as it is here, this daily candle, this doji candle, it might be that this will be the start of a bigger reversal for Phantom. And I will be opening a small position and will only add to my position if we are breaking above the 50 moving average. So because this is almost a 10% move here from current price, look at this here. This is like a 7.5% move. Only then I will add more to my position, because then I have the confidence that we most likely go up to the 200 moving average to test the 200 moving average, and that is another 20% to the upside. So there's no harm done to wait for the 50 moving average to be broken and only go like all in with the position size from there, because the indicators are telling me we are heavily oversold here on the stochastic RSI. The RSI is neutral, the MACD is bearish, so we might be close here to a reversal, potentially give it here also another 2-3 days, but then it should be good. But tomorrow, if we get a green pump here to the upside, I will start trading this a little bit. Then COTI is a little bit different. COTI here, I would start entering a position at like let it be 8 cents. Around 8 cents, I would start entering a position, because we are still holding on to the golden ratio that we are currently in here. And also here on the 4-hourly chart, we are close to bottoming out with the next 4-hourly candle. And I would trade this at least to the downward sloping resistance line here, if we can get a break above 8 cents. So this is not a crazy trade. This is like a 5% move. But I would just then set my stop loss at my entry level and see if we can break above this multi-week downward sloping trend line. If we can, then expect that we will rally in direction of like 11-12 cents here, and that's where I will make all my money. So if I see we get rejected from here, I just close the position, take whatever money I made, and wait for a new entry. And that is the best case scenario also for you here for COTI right now. Then ICP right now at a big demand area here on the MDX algo indicator on the daily. Here I still wait for a break of this downward sloping trend line, but also here everything is showing me on the indicator side that we are ready for a bigger reversal to the upside, because also here we are oversold, about to get a buy signal on the stochastic. MACD, these are small red candles, guys, compared to over here. That is what you need to understand. So there is some sell pressure, but it's not as strong as it was over here. So I'm not putting too much weight on this, and the RSI is slightly going up. So we have a small bullish divergence on the daily chart. So another indication that we are potentially reversing back soon to the upside, or at least get something like a dead cat bounce that we can also trade in here into the 50 moving average of $8.20. And from the entry level, that is like an 11-12% move. So, and that's absolutely fine for me to trade something like this. So, and yeah, I just wait for today's daily close with a break above this downward sloping trend line to have my confirmation to enter this trade here. And then the last one is Arweave. Now, Arweave also putting in a bottoming candle today. Also here, if tomorrow we get a move here to the upside, I might be inclined to open a position with like 10% of my capital for this position, and then see how we are moving forward here. Because I can tell you one thing, all these altcoins that have on the daily chart here, these downward sloping trend lines, once they are broken, you're going to see a 50 to 70% push to the upside. This is not unusual in a bull market, guys. I want to mention that here, really important. Not unusual in a bull market. Then when we have these bigger downward sloping trend lines, once they're broken, and we see 50, 60, 70, 100% moves in altcoins in a really quick time frame. So be aware of that, and that's why I want to be positioned for this as early as I can, but not with as much risk as possible. So I still want to mitigate the risk. That's why I'm only entering with like 10% of the amount that I want to use on this trade, and wait then for the break of the downward sloping trend line to add more, and then trade this as high as possible. So, but of course with stop losses on the way. And guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you again tomorrow.